Tonight, we take a trip from New England, Massachusetts down to Arlington, Texas, as we cover top players from both the Eastern divisions. It's time to get average. What is going on, guys? We are the Average Bros Fantasy Show, your one-stop shop for average advice, brought to you by Football Darts and Fantasy Sports Alliance. As always, I'm joined by my average brother, Kevin. Kevin, how you doing tonight?
I am doing just average, as we try to aim for here on Tuesday nights.
That is the number one motto that we ultimately always 110% aim for. We can't be too above average here. That would just be breaking the law. We have Maria here with a little hand wave. How you doing tonight, Maria? And before we get into our show tonight, we would like to thank our broadcast sponsor, Football Darts. Football Darts is a dart game that combines the skill of traditional darts with the strategies of American football. This innovative dart game is played on a uniquely designed multiple target dartboard. It can be played in sports bars, at tailgate events, as league tournaments, or as a leisure activity in the comfort of your home. If you would like to check out their officially licensed collegiate dartboards, go to footballdarts.com. And if you like the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the show, and follow us on all of our social media outlets that you see here at the bottom of the screen, as well as check out our website, fsa-fr.com. And, of course, please head on over and check out Brad, Josh, and Eric on the Empty Wagon Show Saturday morning at midnight Eastern time. Whew. I think it's getting to the point where I'm going to remember the Football Darts paragraph, like, soon. It's coming soon.
Well, you did okay there. You remembered most of it. You forgot to tell our family watching at home to go out to footballdarts.com and use promo code IPlayFSA. Can't forget about getting all of the Fanatics 30% off.
Yeah. I like I said, aiming for average. I forgot to update my my little script here. And we have Marvin out there. How you doing tonight, Marvin? And we have Chris. How you doing, Chris? Oh man! And also for anyone who got a chance to catch the Fanatically Real broadcast last week with the man, the myth, the legend, Brian, our stat guy, and my below average brother. They announced that we did open our Echo Dynasty League, which actually already filled up within 24 hours. So I must give you an applause for that one. In lieu of that, and because we know there are people such as myself who still want another Dynasty team, we are opening a Foxtrot League. And I mean, what else is there to say? Go to fsa-fr.com to sign up. And if you guys have any questions, please get a hold of Brian, Kevin, or someone that is a lot more knowledgeable than myself, because I don't know anything.
I can attest to that. That is true. You do know nothing.
We have Ricky out there. How you doing tonight, Ricky, with a little peace sign? Kim saying, "Hey guys, my shirt is on its way. I will take a pic and post it as soon as I get it. I hope you like it. I know you're gonna like the color, as I know you got pink."
And
wait, hold on. What was that?
We can skip over Damien. We don't have to worry about his. If you are like Kim and do want any Average Bros merch, please follow at fantasy_sports_alliance on Twitch, and then share it to either Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. And we will put you in an entry to win a t-shirt, which we will be announcing next week on the Fanatically Real broadcast. And if you don't win, remember, you can always go out and use code FANATIC for 10% off.
He kind of cut out there for a second. Use code Fanatic for 10% off a Quan for the Win t-shirt or Angry Commish. I know I did. I used it for both of the shirts, and they are on their way. I am super excited for them to get here. Damien says, "What is up, my average friend Josh and my above average nemesis Kevin?" How you gonna say?
Oh,
How you gonna call your
thank you.
nemesis above average, and then I'm just there on the side? What? That's not. I don't understand you sometimes. Kim says, "I sure will." Josh can show me how. I definitely can. Right down the street. I could just easily walk to their house. So Kevin, we're both kind of on the same page here. Like I said in the intro, we are traveling up to New England, Massachusetts, all the way down to Arlington, Texas, as we are covering all of the East, both AFC and NFC. Primarily just going over players that are good, players to keep an eye on, players to watch out for, where we think they will go, how they will fare this year. And we both have nothing on deck here. This is all off the top of our head.
That is correct. But before we jump into things, as we are starting in the East, obviously we know big news out of New York with the Jets making a trade, getting rid of former first-round pick Sam Darnold. I'm sure I know somebody out there watching has plenty to say on this. So without further ado, I'll bring in the man.
I mean, what am I supposed to say? I'm wearing a Dolphins hat tonight. I mean,
this is as confusing as it gets. He's formerly a Jets fan, converting to a Buffalo fan, but wearing a Miami hat.
Well, I knew we were going to talk about the East tonight, right? So it was the fastest one that I could find that wasn't a Jets hat and not a Buffalo hat. And I'm absolutely not wearing a New England hat. Couldn't find any of my NFC East hats. So this is the one we got on for the night. How do I feel about the Sam Darnold signing? Good for him. I hope it's a better fit for him in Carolina. That's what I'm really hoping for. So this absolutely tells the world that the Jets are drafting another quarterback then in the upcoming draft. I made the comment earlier this week in Discord that if the Jets do, in fact, take Fields as their second overall pick, which it's a possibility, him being a former Ohio State quarterback, I will forever ward off the Jets, and they will no longer be my team, as they will then have a what they consider a franchise quarterback from Ohio State on their roster.
Well, my question is, regardless of the quarterback that they take, whether it be Wilson out of, I believe it's BYU, or Fields, maybe even Lance there, do they have any weapons on the team to help out a quarterback like that? Does it even make sense to make that move?
I mean, who's even the running backs that they've got right now? Last we knew it was Frank Gore, right? It's Frank Gore Sr. because Frank Gore second and Frank Gore the third, I think, are already playing in the league as well. I mean, so he's old as dirt. So, I mean, they have nobody there. They don't have any good receivers left. Robbie Anderson left. But Robbie Anderson now with Carolina. There's another Jets combo that could be a possibility whenever Sam Darnold gets down there. So, the Jets are in a bad way right now. However, they're compiling picks, right? We saw the report. Not as much as Miami is doing right now, but the Jets are compiling some picks as well, like 20-some picks over the next two drafts and nothing later than the sixth round. So they're putting something together. So maybe I only ward them off for the first couple of years, long enough for Justin Fields to no longer play quarterback in the NFL. He'll switch over to another position because there hasn't been a good Big Ten quarterback in the NFL in a very, very long time, and definitely not out of Ohio State.
Chris reminds us that Corey Davis did sign with the Jets, so they do have something.
I forgot about him, and I kind of like Corey Davis. Chris, don't confuse me tonight. This is all about me hating on the Jets tonight.
Ricky chimes in and says Robbie and Sam back together with his best Ric Flair impression on the end there.
I mean, they need a running back regardless, right? They have zero running game right now. So whatever that's going to look like next year.
Well, who's still available? That's like a top name-ish running back.
On their roster?
No, like if they wanted to go out and sign somebody. Damien.
They can go get James Conner.
Yeah, Damien says James Conner.
True. Well, what do we
it's
do?
something.
Do we bring in another Pittsburgh running back to keep him for a year, like we did Lev Bell, and then let him go? I mean, what do you do with that?
Don't give him the money that Bell was asking for, just so he can sit there and do nothing all season and still get paid for it.
Still made the monies.
That's true. I mean,
I don't know why they didn't try to go out and sign Fournette out from underneath the Bucks.
Does anybody know who the Jets' starting quarterback is right now on their depth chart?
McSorley?
No, McSorley plays for Washington.
oh,
You're right.
Doesn't he?
No, it was
Oh.
Baltimore.
You're right. I forgot.
Well, they don't. Yeah, they don't have Flacco anymore. Wasn't it like Trevor Siemian or something like that?
James
Simeon?
James Morgan, and behind him is Mike White. The household names, right? Guys, you've heard of before.
That's right. I forgot all about those guys. Jesus,
Exactly.
how could I do that?
So
And yeah, LaMichael P. Ryan right now is the starting running back there right now.
So outside of Corey Davis, from a fantasy perspective, is there any relevance within the Jets?
You still have Denzel Mims there. Jamison Crowder's there still. Herndon is still there. I mean, he's never really lived up to the hype that everybody thought he was going to. I mean, when you really look across their depth chart right now on who they've got in place prior to the draft, they've got zero. Herndon is it. That's pretty much it. And Corey Davis now. And that's pretty much it. And I'm not sure why Corey Davis went there. I don't exactly know what he was banking on by going there, other than maybe he gets him a young quarterback because he knew that was the direction they were going to go. But yeah, James and Crowder still there too.
Any of their receiving weapons do you see in the wide receiver 2 category, top 2, so top 24?
no.
Any of them finish that high?
Not. I mean, I guess it would depend on the quarterback situation that they get as well. I mean, Crowder and Corey Davis probably both have the opportunity and the chance to. But it really is going to depend on who they end up drafting. Now, if it's Justin Fields, absolutely zero, no. They won't even be in the top 36.
So Chris says that it doesn't matter while Gase is there. I thought he was fired.
He's
He's not there.
Salah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
The coordinator from San Fran, right?
The defensive coordinator.
Defensive coordinator. And that's the other thing too. Depending on what that mindset is going to be for that team now, we could be a defensive heavy team. Think about Singletary when he was in San Francisco and what that team looked like while he was there. You get that defensive side minded guy that comes in there. Defense wins championships, and they get that in their brains. And then the offense is whatever, right? So it's whatever with a Justin Fields leading it probably.
So let's move up in rank where I see them finishing anyway. The next big spenders through free agency has been the Patriots. A lot of new pieces there, at least as far as offseason rank goes.
What did you call Bill Belichick with all that spending money?
I forget.
He said he was like an 8th grader or like a little kid with Christmas money.
Yeah, a little kid with Christmas money. That's it. And he's still got more. I'm surprised they haven't signed anybody recently. It's about due.
They probably took his money away from him.
Yeah, took his checkbook.
Yeah, they said, no, Bill, no more.
So let's see. They bring in 2 tight ends, which hurt, obviously, their own fantasy value. As far as NFL perspective, probably do pretty well in, was it Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry? I would say probably have a shot for both of them to finish within tight end 1, so that's top 12. But that's not that hard to do in the tight end position. Would you agree?
I think from a fantasy standpoint, it's crazy where we've We brought in tight end premium a year or two ago under the FSA umbrella, right when we thought the tight ends were peaking, when we thought that was going to be very good. And then we come out and you're right, it wasn't very hard to make top 12. There was such a drop off, definitely between 1 and 2, and then from 2 and the rest. Is it possible? Yeah, I think with the re-signing of Cam there, anything with a tight end is possible. Probably helps him out quite a bit too, I think, compared to what he had there last year.
And Damien says Patriots overspent on a bunch of number 2s. If you take a look at their receiving core now, it is
Edelman, Nelson Aguilar, N'Keal Harry, and Kendrick Bourne.
Yep. And then the outside man right now is going to be probably my favorite on the team, honestly, is Jacoby Meyer, converted quarterback.
Well, here's the other thing, too. When was the last time the Patriots had a wide receiver 1, when you really think about it, since Randy Moss? Yeah, I was going to say, since Randy Moss, there hasn't been anybody. And they're still winning all of those Super Bowls with wide receiver 2s.
We had Cook once, but in the Super Bowl, he got laid out. Absolutely killed.
I thought at that point the guy probably needed to retire. I was really surprised to see him come back for sure.
So, Josh, this is to you, having played him in the division previously, knowing what he can do when he has weapons. Do you see Cam getting any better this year over year? Last year, I believe he had something like 12 rushing touchdowns, 8 through the air, only one of 2 quarterbacks to have more on the ground than through the air. Does he get any better with these weapons, you think?
I mean, I don't think this year, no. I mean, they might. I could see them pushing for second in the division, maybe around the Dolphins, pushing for a wild card spot. I mean, but we all obviously know who's taking the championship in the AFC East with the Bills.
How about from a fantasy perspective? What do you think they do? Cam does.
In a fantasy perspective, I could see Cam finishing in, I guess we would call it a super flex spot. So QB2, I could see him finishing top 24 easily because he has that rushing presence. And that's why, people love their Lamars and Kyler Murrays.
I'm sure there's 6 quarterbacks that we could easily think about behind him, at a minimum. So 8 quarterbacks behind him.
Chris chimes in and says he's looking forward to the Harris and Sony Michel battle if they don't bring in another running back. They also brought back and re-signed
James White.
James White, who he was second in the league last year on yards per reception out of the backfield. He was second there, so another weapon. You got to think fast pace with these guys, so it probably won't be a battle, in my opinion. They're probably going to run a very fast offense because everything's going to be short, so it's probably going to be a lot of back and forth between the two. Very much 50-50 split. So,
what does the Patriots draft look like? Like, where are their spots?
The last time I checked, before the last trade from the Jets, they had the second most picks at 10 or 11, which they tend to usually have a lot of, but they're usually later because they're pretty good at the comp pick range. Their first pick in the first round, or their only pick in the first round, is at 15.
Okay. And it's the first time they've had a first round pick in a while because they usually, like you said, they usually trade out of the first and don't usually have one.
Yeah, this is the highest they've been in a long time.
Yeah.
Damien,
where you boys want to go next? Oh.
Jonathan says that they need to get another quarterback out of the draft. I think that they're still trying to get Jimmy G. The last I heard, the price tag on him was a first-round pick, and the Patriots were still actively pursuing him. So the only issue is, what does that do for Cam? Do you really want to go sign a starter? Because that's what Jimmy G is right now. What does that do to your quarterback room? Granted, you signed Cam to basically peanuts and it's all incentive based anyway. So it's not like you're losing money. You're not paying Cam starter money, so it's a possibility. And he says that the pick is at 15.
So I know we're talking about the AFC East right now. We're going to only talk about the NFC East. But what does it look like in Carolina as well? Same situation there. What did they just pay Teddy B down there as he's getting starter money? And what does the contract from Sam Darnold look like whenever it gets carried over? So is there really a competition based on the contracts, or I don't know what that looks like?
Chris says, where I'm assuming that it means where do you think Teddy goes? Do the Patriots take him on, or
talking about Teddy B going there with Sam Darnold being there? Yeah, I think they both stay in. Yeah, I think they both stay. I know will be a weird situation. Well, I think they both stay in Carolina. Very weird, but I think it still happens.
Yeah, because I know Bridgewater said they said that he's open to talk to other teams and stuff, but Bridgewater did say that he is okay with staying.
So Jonathan says he thinks that the Patriots move up to the Falcons spot at 4, who have been open to moving back and take a quarterback. That's very interesting because I don't think it's happened in the past 20 years where the Patriots move up that far to go get a guy. Possible, but unlikely, I think.
Well, where do you guys want to go next? I think we've exhausted we didn't even talk about the Jets for that long.
Well, that's
also because we have Patriots
fans here. Yeah, rightfully so. There's not a lot to talk about with the Jets right now. There's nothing good to talk about with the Jets right now.
Okay, so I know that we're supposed to be talking about like fantasy relevance and all that stuff, and like how do we see the teams doing? As far as New England, do you go with any of their guys? Like, would you trust any of their receivers?
Cam's a flex for me. Sony Michel and James White still both depth.
I would take either tight end.
True.
As a starter.
Either one of them as a starter, actually. Either one of them as a starter.
Like I said, there's such a big drop off. I see a top 4, and then I see the bottom 8. I don't really see anyone else in there.
Basically, so Hunter Henry did finish 12th last season, and Jonnu Smith was down at number 16.
Both of them could be first this year. Both of them could be in the top 12 easily, but it doesn't take much to be top 12. And then as far as all the wide receivers go, I'm playing those wide receivers for bye week fills, or in a week where I'm short all of my running backs and I need to go an extra wide receiver. So maybe not even on a bye week fill, just bye because my running backs are off or injured. Then I might go deeper on the wide receiver. I start none of them.
The only receiver on the team, if healthy, I target is Edelman in a PPR situation. Outside of that, I don't really look at any of them as a viable option outside of like what you said, Brian, in a bye week fill. Somebody who has plenty of options, though, all around offensively, you're wearing their hat for some god-awful reason.
Good hat.
Is the Dolphins' top guy there still, Devontae Parker, probably aiming another receiver through the draft. Chase is rumored to go there. You have Gesicki there as well, who has been probably a top 10 tight end towards that upper echelon of guys.
You have Will Fuller there now as well, but he's also going to be facing what? He's got 1 game suspension left. I don't know how many games he still has to serve with that suspension that he had at the end of last year. So he'll still be serving some of that. But their starting running back is Myles Gaskin right now. So that doesn't excite me at all.
They have Gaskin and Ahmed, both who were interchangeable at the end of the year. Gaskin did perform well when on the field. The issue is that Tua runs. So you have the same situation there as you do with the top team in this division, with Josh Allen running around with Buffalo. So you can never start anyone.
I would say it's more like a Baltimore thing. Like how I wouldn't trust J.K. Dobbins.
Well, Baltimore now, you're saying. Before, when they had Ingram, I would take Ingram as a number one. I mean,
Well,
he scores
yeah.
all the rushing touchdowns there. So,
We got to remember too, Malcolm Brown's there in Miami too. Is this the same Malcolm Brown that played for LA?
Yes.
Okay, he's there now as well. So Damian gives me the update, the 1 game suspension this year for Fuller. So he served 5 of the 6 games already last year then, so he still has 1 more to serve this year.
and then just to wrap up real quick here, Chris has Kittle, Kelsey, Waller, Hawkinson, and Fant. So that's 5. Andrews, Ertz, and Gesicki. That's 6, 7, 8. And then he has the Irv Smith 9, which
And then
still
both
leaves the
10 and
Patriots
11.
tight ends 10, 11. So
Yep.
if that's the only ones that you can think of above them, that still rings true that they could both finish tight end 1 at 11, even 11 and 12. If you think of one other guy, probably Thomas from the Redskins in there.
Probably Logan Thomas, Hayden
Yeah.
Hurst.
Yeah, so they could both be at the back end of the tight end 1.
Yeah,
But back to Miami, somebody that was mentioned in there is Gesicki. I think he will be big for them. I see this as a very similar offense ran as New England. A lot of dump off stuff. The only difference is they have a true number 1. I think Parker can take the top off quite easily.
Yeah, and we got to figure out what that looks like, right? So there was some sharing at the quarterback position between Tua and Fitzpatrick this year. Fitz is gone now. Tua's there all by himself. So what does that look like? Does Parker get more looks? I'd be very curious to see what the stats look like between what Parker's targets were based on what quarterback was on the field, and does it improve for him because it's only Tua on the field this year?
The other thing that we talk about a lot, especially on this show anyway, is second-year tape or late-season tape. As the season goes on, your rookies and second-year guys tend to perform lesser and lesser as we get into it. So, what does that look like for Tua? He didn't look that great. I would say probably only a bye week fill or a super flex option. Definitely not in the top 12 ever for me to be a number 1 guy.
No.
So is he a guy that falls out of into that late 20 to 24 super flex for you?
I'm going to put this one up here real quick before we go on to that next thought, because I think this is a little bit of a bias right here that somebody forgot to put Robert Tonyan up there. But that's only because Damian is a Green Bay Packers fan. It's all right. You can shake your head, Kevin, all you want. But I mean, you're talking about 2 tight ends from the Patriots. At least let the man have his guy.
Yeah. He's already got top 12 guys at running back, receiver, and at quarterback. Why do we need a 4th on the team?
Chris says Parker was better with Fitz by a mile last year. I remember seeing it somewhere.
Okay. So what does that do for Tua? Does that make Gesicki better than now that Tua's there?
I think it does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with basically what Kevin was saying. Gesicki, top 12, maybe even top 6 easily.
Which also isn't very hard to do. As we've seen. Yeah. Outside of the top 4 or 5, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
So I know we don't really talk about him often. I know it was really big with the empty wagon guys last year on their defensive side of the ball. Lost a couple of players. I know in redraft we start one. Defensively, does that do anything for you there?
What, are you talking about Miami?
Yeah. I know that they were sneaky good last year. How does that help? How does that help them improving year over year on the offensive side? Can they keep Tua on the field and give him more opportunity with how well they played last year? It's another thing to keep in mind.
I think so. I mean, if you're sneaky good, I mean, you're still good. And as long as you're good and you can give the ball to your offense to put up the points, then I mean, and also if you're sneaky good to the point where you're not allowing the other team to score points and you're taking the pressure off your offense from thinking it's, constantly that situation of we need to score or we're going to lose, then they could easily win games.
I don't know what the defense looks like this year. Did they do a lot of moves so far in this offseason on the defensive side of the ball?
They've lost a couple of pieces.
Kevin, what was the website that we used the one time?
Sport Track.
Okay.
Great website.
I'm just gonna
the final team in the East, the big dogs in town, division winners from years past, the Buffalo Bills, probably led by my quarterback 2 in the league this year, possibly 1 with Allen.
And think about who they got as their backup now.
Closer.
Who's their backup now?
Trubisky.
Trubisky's the backup now too. So I mean, they've got a serviceable backup there. I don't even know who the backup was there last year, but now they have a serviceable backup in my opinion. Still have a sketchy run game, but I think they're doing all right at the receiver, and they do okay at the tight end position as well.
Damian says that Zach Moss could be a sneaky player to lock in on out of the backfield.
Actually, if I'm going to pick a player, it's going to be Matt Breida.
As a sneaky player to have off the team, for me, it's not even out of their backfield. To me, it's the reception machine, Cole Beasley, if I'm going to pick a sneaky player on the team.
Well, I'm talking about if there's a number 1 that's going to be in the backfield. If you had to go a Buffalo running back, I'm going Matt Breida now that I see they signed him.
Chris said that they add former
Jacob
Patriot
Jacob
Hollister.
Yeah,
I believe he came last from the Seahawks.
Seahawks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Chris knows who he is. But yeah, I mean they're quietly still putting together even better pieces than what they've got, or at least good backfills there. I still think the weakest part of that team is the running game. We might talk about Zach Moss and Matt Breida and stuff like that, but still the weakest part of the game. They need to get a running back.
Yeah.
I mean, but do they really, if they have a quarterback like Allen who can still put up 7, 8, 9 rushing touchdowns in a year to where you really have to worry? Plus, he can throw the ball end zone to end zone. So,
I mean, then here comes the same thing that, like you said, we always talk about, it's just game film. I mean, aren't teams going to pick up on that? And then
they haven't.
Also,
it's
you
just
have a star
seasons now. Yeah.
Also, you have a star quarterback. Like, are they going to want to keep rolling him out and using his legs, chancing an injury?
That's the thing.
For me,
sustainable.
Yeah. For me, the issue is that they've done it for now 2 seasons, right? If you would say that this is a Lamar where he dropped off so heavy, for me in one side of the ball or the other, Josh Allen got better last year over his previous year. I mean, we all agreed in that. So can he go down this year? Sure. Yes. I mean, he could have peaked last year, but I just highly doubt it because of how well he performed. I mean, we didn't even talk about his top target who's been in there, and Stephon Diggs.
And I believe that he has better targets. I think he has better targets to throw to this year. Yeah, you're right. I think Josh Allen can sustain what he's doing, but is it sustainable for another year past this without giving them some kind of run them out, right? Stephon Diggs, what does it look like? You got Cole Beasley, you got Gabriel Davis, Emmanuel Sanders is there now, Dawson Knox. Just said that they picked up Hollister, so he's got great weapons to throw to. So I don't see his numbers from a fantasy standpoint dropping off, but maybe anybody else who has the ability to get a target might see those targets diminish, might be spread out a little bit more. So,
I mean, you have to also look at it this way: is that the compared to the other running quarterbacks in the league right now, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen's the biggest out of all of them, size-wise. So you got to assume that he can take a hit a little bit better than those other guys. So,
We need to knock on wood
Well-
now. We're singing his praises so much. Sean, I appreciate that. We're singing his praises so much right now. That's the kind of times that the guys come out and get injured early in the season. So let's knock on wood.
Well, yeah, I was
that
about to
doesn't
say,
happen.
the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
I mean, I hope not. I just drafted the guy. So I hope that doesn't happen.
That would hurt him in like
Yeah,
half of
that's
his leagues.
Yes, agreed.
How many shares do you have of him in all of your leagues now?
Probably 3
Lots.
if I go back and look.
Oh, okay.
Not enough.
6-2, 6-3.
So
I think
as we go through,
Damian definitely agrees with what you had said earlier. I think it's Mahomes then Josh Allen. I think you had said earlier Josh Allen was your number 2 with your possibility of number 1, and I think we all would put Mahomes number 1. So some agreement from your arch nemesis over there.
he's smart sometimes.
So my only thing, and I'm going to go back to last year's fantasy draft, and I know Kevin is 110% going to agree with me on this because it's his philosophy. I'd rather take, say, CMC in the first round and then, say, Stephon Diggs in the third and somebody in the second, and then take Josh Allen in the fourth than waste my first round pick on Mahomes. And I mean, Kevin, what was the stat for the whole QB thing?
Yeah, so last year in redraft, we had 75% of the region winners take a quarterback in the third round or later, including your world champion in the Chris Betts. I don't think that's going to happen this year with Allen. I think you're going to have to find a different hole to fill. I think that Allen will definitely go in the first because of what he's done. But a guy to replace him in that same spot is Justin Herbert for me this year.
That's exactly who I was going to say. I liked him last year, and I like him this year.
So if you go back to just the South Atlantic Dragons draft for last year, and I'm only looking because I drafted Josh Allen as well. I had the number 1 overall pick, so I had the churn at the 2 and the 3. So I could have taken Josh Allen at the end of the second. I took him at the beginning of the third, right? So that is what it is, with the 1 and number 2 being Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler for me. We saw how well that worked out for me. So basically my first overall pick was Josh Allen, if you really look at it.
So as we go ahead and wrap up the AFC East, we move over to the NFC East, where nothing good happens. Last year, the division winner didn't go over 500, if I'm correct, I believe.
You know what? I don't remember where the Skins actually ended up finishing. I would actually have to look it up. Let me see if I can look that up for you since I am the stat guy.
We'll start out at the bottom again with the Eagles. I believe finished last there with the earliest pick. What do you see out of them this year, Josh?
So real quick, just to beat Brian, nobody finished over 500.
7-9 out of the Redskins.
And you said where do I see the Eagles finishing?
How do you see them faring this season, fantasy-wise?
So Ertz is gone.
No, Ertz is still there right now.
I thought Ertz left.
No, so they allowed him to open himself up for a trade. He can now seek a trade on his own. They have not renegotiated his contract just yet, which they need to do.
So,
but he is still technically an Eagle.
So I like Hurts. I will say Hurts is easily a flex spot, top 24, because he has the legs. I have a soft spot for quarterback second run. I loved Lamar Jackson, but I traded him away. But besides that, I mean, Miles Sanders is all right. I wouldn't touch him. Who does he even have to throw to right now? Rieger?
He has Rieger, John Hightower.
Nobody.
Travis Fluham.
Yeah. Fluham, who's like their fourth guy. Yeah.
He still has Deshaun
Jackson.
He still has Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey. Don't forget about
he was
them.
like
they're both no longer there.
Were they both let go? Okay.
So basically their number 1 is Rieger right now, a second-year guy.
Correct. They have J.J. Arthega-Whiteside a first round bust or second round bust, wherever they had taken him.
If you're gonna go anywhere near the Eagles, all I'm gonna say is take Hurts, take Rieger, and if you desperately need a running back, take Sanders and Goddard, as Sean's saying. I do like Goddard as well.
I do like Goddard as well. I think that they should have gotten rid of Ertz prior to last year and sold high on him. Although Goddard did get hurt, I believe, last year as well as Ertz. So there's that concern. The biggest issue right now in Eagles land is who do they draft? I believe they're sitting at 12 now, something like that. They traded back out of 6. So the talk is that they lost the Kyle Pitts sweepstakes. They lose the Chase sweepstakes. Now they're looking at either a late quarterback, whoever falls, or the number 3 receiver, which doesn't help your young quarterback any. So do they trade back in, or they trade back even further? It's just a mess as far as the draft is concerned with those guys.
So I'm sorry, I was looking at the trade for South Atlantic last year, and I'm puzzled on why Mahomes went at number 6. You said they draft at 12?
Yes.
And what are the receivers you said that are going to be gone by then?
There is Smith and it's a Chase. Blanking on their first names, but
is Waddle still going to be there?
Waddle could be there. Bateman, who's extremely fast, could be there. I believe he ran the fastest 40 out of the receiver group. I could be wrong, but I know he was up there. Sean says that they're looking to possibly get Waddle. To me, I don't know how much of any of it helps, because have either one of you guys seen enough from Hurts to say he can even get the ball to them and manage a clock outside of running around in the pocket?
I mean, that's true. I mean, Hurts only played for some odd games because they still had their hopes on Wentz, but now obviously Wentz is in Indianapolis. But I mean, I think they'll still get their guy, whether it's a possession guy or it's a speedy guy. They're still going to get him.
So as we move through it, any receivers that are currently on the team that you take in your top 2
My
through
top
24? 2? Yeah, wide receiver 2, the top 24. Any of them finish in there for you? Rieger doesn't fall in there?
No.
I think Rieger would be a flex, if that. He could maybe move up, but I don't know.
How about Hurts? Is he a super flex guy? Does he fall in your top 24?
Yes.
Now that he's the true starter, unless now that I'm just seeing his name, unless Flacco decides to come in and take it, which I don't think is going to happen. But yeah, I could see Hurts finishing top 24 and would definitely be my super flex spot.
Either tight end fall in either the top 12 or a flex spot for you?
Goddard finishing top 12.
Either one, they still have Ertz. So
one of them, yes. Both of them, no.
I think both of them have the opportunity to do it if they end up in different teams. I don't think that those two can do it while on the same team.
Yeah.
No, different situation than with New England, where I still believe both New England tight ends can finish there, but not the same in Philly if they're both there.
I have to agree with my arch nemesis here. I think that Rieger will fall into the wide receiver 2 category in the 13 to 24 range. I don't know if he'll be able to get the yardage up there. I don't know how deep Hurts can take them, but as far as receptions, he will have the target share. So I think that plays well in his favor.
One of our empty wagon guys, Eric, likes to say targets are king, right? So volume is there. You never know what they can do with it.
Yeah.
So next we move to the Washington football team, who is looking to keep their name as they put it out in a fan-based poll, which surprises me that they're doing so. But they've got a new beard in town.
And I think your beard might better.
I liked Heineke. I liked him. He almost took down Tom Brady. Why? Like, I wish they would give him a chance at least.
I mean, they've got weapons now. They've got Scary Terry.
Oh yeah,
they've got Logan Thomas,
Curtis Samuel,
tight end. They get back a healthy Antonio Gibson. Mm-hmm. They have Darius Geis. They have McKissick. They've got pretty much every running back under the sun there. So
they have a decent quarterback coming in with Fitzpatrick. He can do what he's asked, do what he's told, get you where you need to go. He's not going to go above and beyond like an Allen or a Mahomes. The running game's there. The running game's young. Scary Terry, wide receiver 1, easily. And then
I think he's a fringe guy.
Oh no, I think he's wide receiver 1.
I think he was wide receiver 1 even with Alex Smith still there. I don't think just bringing Fitz in makes that any better for him. I think it's still level ground, possibly a little bit of an upgrade. But Scary Terry was already good.
Yeah, so what I mean by fringe guys, I see him in that, say, 10 to 15 range. I don't see him moving into the top 10. But he's right there.
I don't know. Washington's got a great defense. Defense allowed the offense to come back on the field.
That's what I was going to say. Washington had one of, if not the best defenses last season.
Okay, so if that's the case, if Washington has a good defense, that means they're not going to be let down in too many games, which means they don't have to stretch the field. They can run the ball.
Is Antonio Gibson going to stay healthy? Is J.D. McKissick going to stay healthy? I mean, that's what it comes down to. We already know Fitzpatrick is old. He's very old. He's definitely not getting it done with his legs. So,
yeah,
but he has an arm, and he is big. He can take a hit.
He can, or he can just give the ball to Scary Terry and get his numbers up.
There's nobody else there. Who else?
That's about it.
That's it.
He's going to
get the target share. Yeah.
The only other targets I would say they had is what Damien says here: Curtis Samuel or Thomas.
Yeah,
I think Curtis Samuel falls into the flex spot because of the target share that Terry and Thomas take over.
Agreed.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying Samuel is even going to be in the wide receiver 2. I'm just saying if they had another weapon on the other side of the ball, opposite of Scary Terry, it's going to be Curtis Samuel.
Right. So next, that takes us to the New York Football Giants.
Did you guys know Colt McCoy was still a quarterback in the NFL?
Yes,
he's for the Giants, right?
He's the backup to Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. I was unaware.
So Giants, they get Kyle Rudolph, Kenny Golladay.
Healthy Saquon.
Yes, healthy Saquon.
And Danny trips on a dimes. Does he improve any better? Does he move forward? Or is he just that? Or do you think he is going to be the next Fitzpatrick? Good enough to get a team to the cusp and then moves on?
No. I think it's going to be a Sam Darnold situation. They're going to have another.
They're the same guy, in my opinion. I think they're all mid-tier 2. I don't think any of them are going to be the guy. I don't think that the Giants win with Daniel Jones. That's what I'm saying.
The only thing saving Daniel Jones was having Saquon there to do the work for him, being able to dump the ball off to him as well as hand the ball off to him.
And actually get into the end zone when you run.
Exactly. I mean, you can give him all the weapons in the world, which he has decent weapons, I would say, and he's not going to do anything with it.
Receiving-wise, they have Slayton, Sterling Shepard, I believe is still there.
Here you go. Made it easier for you.
And Galladay's still
Evan
there as well. And they just picked up Galladay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barkley,
They're,
Ingram.
they're good,
So-
but none of them excite me. Like I know what Damien's saying. Saquon is the only one that really excites me on that team. I don't care about Galladay being there. I really don't. I don't think gets. No.
You think he ends up in the top 24, wide receiver 2 range?
Galladay?
Yeah.
Okay, so ask this question. I know this sounds crazy. I don't see him honestly being any better than Slayton and any better than Shepard.
I think they're all same level.
Who stayed the healthiest of those two last year?
Well,
and where did they finish?
Well, that's the hardest question to answer is what you just posed, is who stays the healthiest. I think if Galladay stays healthy and lasts all year, I think Galladay can be that in that same fringe player. I think he's a top end wide receiver too, if he stays healthy.
Damien says if he can't do it this year, then he's getting replaced next offseason. I 100% agree with that. Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then he says,
and then his next comment is spot on too.
Go ahead. Yeah. Oh, you can read it.
Oh, I don't think Jones can support a wide receiver 2 with Barkley healthy. I agree with him. I mean, with Barkley's running the ball, wide receivers aren't going to see a whole lot of work.
No, that's all they have. It's just Barkley.
Now we haven't put a number on him yet. Where do you think he finishes, Saquon, in your running back rankings? I assume upper tier 1. Is he still in the top 5?
No. I put him outside of. I still put him as a first round running back, right? I put him outside the 8, but above 12, 8 to 12 is where I've got him this year.
So in the first, so you're saying overall, he's not.
Overall,
so he's 8 to 12.
He's going to finish running back 8 to 12, so that might drop him into the second or third round. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say top 10 at least. With all the young guys out there.
So my issue is I think that you're right. I think that he might fall a bit as far as fantasy rankings, but because of the name and not having anything to judge last year, I think he is still drafted pretty high.
Yes. He's still going to be drafted. I'm going to say first half of the first round.
He might be the top 5 running back off the board, but he may not finish in that range. And where Brian is disagreeing, he's saying he could finish outside of that. Damien has him as number 2 behind CMC, who also was not healthy last year, and James Taylor, who is now running back by committee again as the Colts bring back their guys.
I say you are crazy. I say
Damien is.
He is mad.
I think the volume there is definitely going to be there for him because there's nothing else on that team. But I don't think with that volume he can stay healthy. So, I mean, maybe my 8 to 12 is thinking that he just can't stay healthy enough.
I think he ends up in the top 5. I think the real question mark is going to be Cook and Kamara. Where do they go? I don't think that Derrick Henry can go over 2,000 again. I just don't think the longevity is there. It's really hard to do it once, let alone back-to-back. I think that Cook in Minnesota, you have the issue with the other receivers there because they're so good. Do they really need to run the ball heavy? Kamara, we still don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be. So what does that look like in the run game or out of the backfield pass catching? So I have to agree with Damien in saying because of the pure talent that's there, I think that Saquon finishes within the top 5 still.
I'm looking at the other starters right now, going down this list of the depth chart. I still stand by. I might bump into 7. I still say 7 or 8. I see 6 or 7 running backs that are better than him, even when he's healthy right now.
That takes us into our next team, which I believe is probably one of those running backs that you have there above him in Zeke with the Cowboys.
Yes.
Zeke is still going to go first round.
Yeah, especially if they get Dak back, yes. And I don't. It's so weird to me that his output was depending on Dak being there or not being there. That makes no sense to me, right? You would have thought the volume and everything would have gone up with Dak being gone, but I think with him back, I think we see a resurgence in Zeke, and yeah, I do put him above Saquon.
So what?
I think you're crazy.
Do we know exactly what week Dak got injured? Would we say it was about week 4, week 5?
Was it that early?
I know it was early.
I don't know, but healthy or not, Zeke does not finish and is not better than Barkley.
So listen to this. So Zeke pre-Dak injury, 30, 23, 16, 20, 27. And I'm assuming week 5 is when Dak got injured. After that, from week 6 to the end of the season, only touched 20 points once.
Dak did get hurt in the 5th week versus the Giants and did not play again the rest of the season.
And then the next week, Barkley put up 9.5 points. I'm sorry, not Barkley. Zeke did.
Zeke put up 9.5.
So
Damian says that Zeke will likely become the perfect turn pick. So at 12 or at 2-1.
Yeah, that's not a bad spot. I could still see that happening too. Yeah,
I could see him going in the first just because he's going to have Dak back.
So probably the biggest question mark on this team is going to be CD Lamb. With a healthy Dak, where does that put CD Lamb in his second year?
Wide receiver 1.
I mean, well, what do you think having Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper around him does to him?
I'd still say he's at wide receiver 1.
Damian says Cooper, Lamb, then Gallup. I would like to know if he has Cooper as a wide receiver 1 or both him and Lamb as wide receiver 1s. I would put them both at 2s.
I'm gonna put Lamb at 2.
They're all number 1s.
Even Gallup?
All of them.
Okay, now you're just talking crazy.
All of them. You realize Dak Prescott from 30. Dak, did you just put me out of the room? I'll put you out of the room.
Yes, I did.
You realize Dak still finished 30th out of quarterbacks last year, even hurt. Only playing 5 weeks. Still finished 30 in fantasy points.
I don't understand what you're trying to say there.
I mean,
it's just crazy to me.
Taysom Hill scored more than him.
Taysom Hill played the whole year. And when I use the term played very, very loosely.
Okay, hold on. So hold on. How many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so almost double. Trubisky scored more than him.
Dak Prescott was second in points per game with his 5 games that he played last year.
Damian goes on to say that Dak and the Cowboys offense can support 2 wide receiver 1s.
Agreed.
Now,
if that's
the case, and you agree, if you agree that they can support 2 wide receiver 1s, what's the possibility of them supporting 2 wide receiver 1s and a
running back 1? Let's go back to the heydays of the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s, and we're not counting another wide receiver as another wide receiver 1, but we're talking a tight end there. When you had a running back, you had Troy, you had Emmett, you had Michael Irvin, and you had Jay Novacek. Wasn't he the tight end then? Jay Novacek, right? And so you had Moose Johnson back then too. It can happen.
We're talking about before we were born.
Stop it.
So, first of all, I'd like to say that here goes Damien with the Homer biasness, and I will agree with I will agree with Brian here. Dak Prescott is second in points per game, like the average, with 29. However, the only quarterback above him is a quarterback that played 1 game. And it was Marcus Mariota.
Yeah. Well, so he had 1 good game. I mean,
Yes.
So Damien's point, just like the Packers have a wide receiver one in Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams, I believe, is way better than both CeeDee Lamb and Cooper. They have a tight end one. It's really hard to say that a tight end one. I mean, there's not many that are mentionable after the top four. So, but I got to give you that because it is true. And an
he
RB1. I
he
think that
becomes
it's
tight
just.
end one because of the lack of talent with tight ends.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. But I think that they also have a better quarterback. I think that Aaron Rodgers is bar none better than Dak. I don't think that Dak finishes QB1 in certain scoring platforms. I think he could fall personally.
Hmm.
I'm not a Dak guy at all.
I'm trying to look up something from the 90s Cowboys since you want to make fun of me.
Of course he is.
That's our
Trying to-
favorite pastime.
I love you all.
And I think the other thing that we didn't mention with the Cowboys that helps them out compared to mainly any other team is their defense and the fact that it is completely not even there. So they constantly have to put up like 40 plus points each game.
You know what
Not
happens? You know the back in playing when you could actually go outside and play games, and you were down a guy, so you took a trash can as a player.
No.
That's their defense.
Well, okay,
Oh,
I
wow.
agree with you, but I'm starting to question your childhood. And I mean, I was there for some of it, but I never had to experience that.
Yeah. You need
So-
an extra lineman, throw a trash can in there.
Going
Slap a
back down
star on
some
'em.
going back down some memory lane, 1993 Super Bowl, whenever the Dallas Cowboys ended up winning that Super Bowl that year.
Over
beat
the Bills.
over the Bills 30-13. This was also the first year that we started FSA. Troy Aikman as your starting quarterback, Jason Garrett as your backup, Bernie Kosar behind him, Emmitt
The
Smith.
clapper.
Yep, Emmitt Smith, Daryl Johnson was the fullback. And we say Michael Irvin, and I said we still had another wide receiver over there, and quote unquote Jay Novacek is the tight end. But Alvin Harper was there too during that year. So you had, if we probably look at the stats, if Alvin Harper wasn't a number one as well, he was on the fringe of that. Jay Novacek, definitely a number one tight end. You had Emmitt Smith there. Dallas can support it. They've proven that they can do it before. Who cares that we're looking 27 years in the past or whatever. Any team can do it if they could do it throughout the 90s.
Well,
That about wraps it up for us.
yes,
You
it
want to take us
does.
on home there, Josh?
I'm going to bring it on home, using a little baseball terminology here, but we're rounding third and, coming home. But usually on my way home, I run out of breath.
That's true.
Oh my goodness. All right, before we return to our regularly scheduled Average Bros Fantasy Show on April 20th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, check out the flagship program with Brian and my brother Kevin on my script I have check out the flagship program with Brian and my Kevin. I don't proofread these. On the Fanatically Row broadcast next Wednesday on April 14th at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, live here on Facebook, YouTube, and now Twitch, as well as catch the Empty Wagon guys this Saturday at midnight on April 9th. If you are unable to watch us live, I cannot talk tonight. Check us out on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and anywhere you can find us for your listening pleasures, as quoted by always Kevin, the below average brother. Thank you for watching.
Did you see his new name?
Oh my goodness. And before I go through all this stuff, make sure you guys head on over to Twitch, Fantasy Sports Alliance. I'm sorry, Fantasy_Sports_ Alliance. Follow the channel, share it on social media to either Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, MySpace, whatever, and tag the FSA account on there to get entered into our Twitch giveaway where you can win yourself a shirt of your choosing, as well as head on over to FSA-FR.com and go to our new merch store and use code Fanatic for 10% off your Quan for the Win, Angry Commish, or Let's Go t-shirt. Thank you for watching the Average Rose Fantasy Show, sponsored by Football, Darts, and Fantasy Sports Alliance. If you like the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the show, and follow us on all of our social media outlets that you see here on the bottom of your screen. And before we head out, I would like to thank all of our sponsors: QB54, Monkey Knife Fight, Nature Coast Tailgating, Cranky Veteran Candle Company, Shell & Mel's Boutique, Finger Lakes Mercantile, Southern Sirens Sugar Scrub, Redwood Durables, and of course the Recast, who are the official music of FSA. I love how I've been stumbling across all my words, but I was able to say Southern Sirens Sugar Scrub.
It's always a tough one. Always a tough one. Damien says you're turning purple, brother. Breathe.
It is definitely a lot. No, it's red just from laughing at myself. Either of you,
I would laugh at you too.
my Kevin or my stat guy for the week. Do you guys have any final words?
No, great
As
show, guys.
always, great show to one of us, average for Josh. And Damien, I wish you no luck in all of your endeavors.
Yeah, I know it was a little bit of overtime for you, Brian. You know, we don't usually have you here for the full show. You're kind of usually in the background.
I love this. This was fun, guys. Appreciate it.
It was. Thank you guys for watching the Average Bros. We're average here. Stay average.